This quote, the bottom line, I was there to protect, and I lost 17. That is what the disgraced former school resource officer at Marjorie Stoneham Douglas High School is now saying, nearly 4 months after a gunman murdered 17 people inside that Florida school. Sheriff's Deputy Scott Peterson breaks his silence and questions what he could have done to save lives despite not going into the building to try to find and confront the shooter. Trace Gallagher live in our West Coast newsroom with the backstory tonight. Trace.
Martha, former Broward County Deputy Scott Peterson now says he did what he was trained to do, called in the shooting, locked down the school, cleared the kids out of the courtyard. Peterson says surveillance video and call logs support his story, but the video and the call logs are originally what prompted the sheriff to label him a coward. We know at 2:21 on the afternoon of February 14th, Deputy Peterson was in his office when a call came in of a possible firecracker. Seconds later, a fire alarm went off and Peterson ran toward the 1200 building until a security guard in a golf cart offered him a ride. When Peterson got off the cart, he heard 2 loud bangs. He claims he didn't know where they came from, so he took up a tactical position against the wall of a building near 1200. And at 12:23, he made the first police radio call. Watch.
We have possible, could be firecrackers. I think we got shots fired. Possible shots fired. 1200 building.
1200. In the next 54 seconds, Peterson made 2 more calls where he again identified shots being fired in the 1200 building. But now he maintains that while he said 1200, he never pinpointed the location, never saw the shooter, and stayed against the wall so he wasn't exposed. But according to police surveillance video that has not been released, it does show the attacker discarding his weapon in the stairwell of 1200 and then blending in with other students as they fled the building. Here's Peterson's radio call a full 7 minutes after the report of a firecracker. Listen.
Do not approach the 12 or 1300 buildings. Stay at least 500 feet away at this point.
Everybody stay away, but at that point the victims were all down and the shooter was gone. Here's Scott Peterson now on NBC. Watch.
You know, if I would have, at the point, if I would have known, I mean, knowing what I know today, I would have been in that building in a heartbeat. I mean, like I said, it was my kids. I mean, it's just I didn't know. And I mean, I rack my brain. I go, why?
Yet even in hindsight, the sheriff and the police union both agree Peterson should have gone in, addressed the killer, and killed the killer. Martha.
Unbelievable. Trace, thank you very much. Here with more tonight, Broward Sheriff's Office Deputies Association President Jeff Bell. Jeff, what goes through your mind when you listen to this man who has now broken his silence and is defending himself?
It's shameful to listen to the words that he's speaking today. Deputy Peterson, in his 28 out of 32-year law enforcement career, has spent that as a school resource deputy. And I think what he's forgotten is how to tell the truth as he's sitting there being a counselor inside of a school instead of a law enforcement officer. Because what he forgets is that facts have to match the story that's being told. And the story that Deputy Peterson is telling does not match the facts that we can clearly see through the dispatch call logs and through the video. Deputy Peterson was right there a minute after the shooting started and then continued to listen to those shots go on for another 5 minutes before he ever took action. And the first tactical bit of information that he put out on the radio was to tell deputies to stay away 500 feet, which is against all protocol in the sheriff's office. But that also paints a bigger picture of what's going on in the sheriff's office, that things need to be fixed from a much higher level, and the deputies that are working the ground are just following what they're being told to do from a higher level.
Yeah, I mean, it's infuriating. This is Andrew Pollack, who lost his daughter Meadow. He was on with us on Friday night. Watch.
The one deputy that worked at the school didn't go in, so he hid behind the wall, and they thought that there still was an active shooter in there because he was still hiding behind the wall, the deputy that was at the building at the time. So, you know, the paramedics, they had their work cut out for them that day because the sheriff at the school didn't do his job.
Yeah, we were talking about the fact that the paramedics were also told they could not go into the building. And no doubt there were children who had been wounded at that point that really could have used that paramedic help. Who's been held accountable in the sheriff's office so far, and in what way?
Well, Martha, that's what I was trying to say before about the bigger problem here at the sheriff's office, is that nobody has been held accountable. You have the district captain of Parkland, Jan Jordan, who took 11 minutes to get to that scene and had no ability to take a command presence at that crime scene and actually get the resources inside that were needed. Fire Chief McDowley out of Coral Springs went on the record and stated 6 times he asked Captain Jordan for permission to get fire rescue units and law enforcement units into that school as rescue task force units, as we're trained to do, to help save people and save lives. And 6 times he was denied to allow those rescue task force to get inside. So it shows the incompetence of the district captain, and those people are being placed in by the sheriff himself as political appointees and favoritism and cronyism.
Jeff, thank you. We're going to stay on this story. We're going to keep asking the questions until something happens. Thank you very much. We'll be right back.
Thank you.